not supposed to see this. Do not watch these TikToks at night. You will never be the same after this. I went on the dark side of TikTok and gathered everything I could find about all the darkest secrets that have been hiding from us. And you're coming along with me. Yes, you. Don't get scared now. You know what you signed up for. You clicked on the video. Make sure you watch till the end of the video because you're not going to be the same after this. And don't watch alone because this is going to get terrifying. What's even scarier than the TikToks we're about to watch today is the fact that 75% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe for more scary videos. Thank you.
The video you just saw shows fans who seem to end up possessed in the middle of a concert. And according to the spectators who filmed it, no one even noticed. All of this happened a few months ago. From the start, no one understood why an inverted cross had been placed at the center of the stage. The rapper was even using voices that sounded strangely demonic. We have proof that several women left the concert because they felt something was wrong.
I don't know if y'all hear that mess behind me that I'm leaving. Something is not right with that. Jesus, in Jesus' name. I'm walking up and down through this whole live concert, praying, clutching my pearls because that sounds like some mess.
There are more and more strange things happening in America right now. The music industry in the United States is turning the wrong way right before our eyes. The most shocking moment was at The Weeknd's concert. A forbidden word flashed discreetly on a giant screen as if it wanted to take something from the crowd. Watching some videos from that day, fans looked possessed. There was even another concert by an artist whose name I cannot mention here, but watching it makes clear the fans were no longer acting normally. Were they possessed because of the music, or was something else hidden during that concert? Many spectators claim that frightening unknown voices were coming from the artist's mouth. It is not normal to see this kind of thing during a show. It is not normal that scenes like the one I showed you have become more and more frequent these past years. You really need to be careful if you plan on going to one of these concerts.
Bro, not one artist has a single song that requires them to do any of this. They're like, oh yeah, let me make a love song and perform it with a bunch of demons flying around me. Like, bro, what?
Three bodies were found by police near the U.S. border.
Do they identify who these bodies belong to, or?
Most of them. This happened July of this year.
Really?
Yes, that they found all 383 of these bodies. All of the bodies were stacked on top of each other, like one by one. They found them in a private crematorium, and they said that the bodies allegedly came from a bunch of different funeral homes. Their relatives had passed away. They wanted the services to be done for their bodies. They wanted them to be like cremated and things like that. What's disgusting is some of these bodies have been sitting there since 2020. A lot of the families were even getting outraged when this whole thing came out of all these bodies being discovered, because these people at the crematorium gave some of them fake ashes.
Yo,
bro, it blew my mind. Yeah, they would give some of these people fake ashes made from I don't even know what, kept storing their bodies there and never told them the truth.
Why?
Police actually believe, though, that it was just a bad case of negligence and these people not doing their jobs, and they were pretty much getting more bodies than they can handle. So it ended up having this huge number of bodies that they weren't able to cremate. They even identified some of the people, and it was 218 men, and then I think 149 women that they identified, and then the other 16 they were not able to tell. Police actually arrested the owner of the crematorium and his assistant. Yeah, around that time, in July. They are still investigating to see what else is gonna emerge from this whole story.
Yeah, and this happened like a couple months ago.
This happened a couple months ago, so this is super fresh. 383 bodies
that are unaccounted for.
Yeah.
There's got to be something way more disturbing to this, especially with the guy getting arrested. If there was really nothing wrong, then why would this dude be getting arrested? Because if there really is something deeper going on, they're not going to out it, because there's probably still more people doing the same thing as we speak.
A biological man just won the strongest woman in the world. The woman to his left is the one that should have won, and you can see clearly how disgusted she is. She's literally mouthing the words, "This is BS, can we go now?" The man that grabbed the trophy, born a man, now transgender, is Jamie Booker, and here's a video of him talking about the award.
Now that I've had a moment to come home and shower and get away from the noise for a minute, I wanted to express a very heartfelt thank you to everyone that has supported me over the past.
But not so fast. The title was actually stripped from him, rightfully so. The Strongman Games released a statement saying, had they known that this person was a biological male, they wouldn't have let him compete in the first place. So now they crowned it to the woman that was in second place, who knew she won, who is Andrea Thompson, who won in 2018, and now she is the strongest woman in the world. We're not asking for much. We just don't want biological males in female sports. We don't want them in female restrooms, and we don't want them in the locker rooms. And at the end of the day, it's for the safety of these women, and specifically the little girls. They don't need to be exposed to that kind of stuff at a young age.
This has got to be like human cheat codes. He literally just switched his gender and said, all right, I'm gonna win the women's lifting competition. Or she. I don't need the pronoun police in the comments. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, let me be.
Let's talk about one of the most disturbing episodes for Courage the Cowardly Dog. Now, you look at the background, you already know what episode this is. This show was supposed to be for kids. Honestly, I enjoyed it, but for some people, it was too much. They eventually had to cancel the show, but whatever. One of the scariest episodes was the King Ramses curse, and if you don't know, it's like about an ancient mummy that comes and haunts Eustace because he steals like his slab or whatever. He appears right in front of their house every single day, saying the same things over and over, return the slab, and every day it's like a different curse. Every day it's like something they're gonna go through if they don't return his slab. I feel like what makes it more disturbing is not just the story, it's just the effect and the eerie voice, just everything. Like if you're watching this, if you're like 10 years old watching this by yourself, come on, who wouldn't be terrified? He ends up punishing Eustace with 3 things, and all while this is happening, Courage always trying to save Muriel. Courage the Cowardly Dog mixed humor, surreal fear, everything, it's just a goated show, to be honest. What did you guys think about this episode or the show in general?
Morgan Geyser's adult accomplice was dressed up as Tiki Toby, a fictional character that works for Slender Man. I mean, this is crazy. So when Morgan was found in Illinois after escaping her group home, she was found with an adult accomplice who was later revealed to be a 43-year-old transgender man named Chad Mecca. Morgan told police that Chad had no idea about her past, but people immediately noticed that he was wearing very similar clothing to a famous fictional character that has a direct relation with Slender Man. The character's name is Tiki Toby. This is what he looks like, and as you can see, Chad was wearing very similar clothing. Now, this character's backstory is what makes this whole thing even crazier. Toby grew up with many different mental disorders, making it hard for him to fit in. He was bullied, had little to no friends, and he lived with his mother, sister, and father. His father later lost himself in drugs, alcohol, and gambling and became abusive towards his family members. And when Toby was 17, he lost his sister in a tragic car accident, all of this making him even more troubled. So he got even worse, lost control, and one night took the life life of his father and set the neighborhood on in an attempt to escape from the police. And as he was about to give in to his own death, Slender Man appeared and saved him, and from then on, he dedicated his life to carrying out Slender Man's every will. And if this is true, that means Chad did know about Morgan's past, maybe even had a similar experience of his own, and that's why they were so close. Let me know what you guys think about this, and as always, I'll keep you guys updated.
Okay, so we have a grown man that believes in Slenderman in connection with a younger woman that killed her friends thinking that she was going to please Slenderman. What is the world we're living in? I'm starting to think this shit is not even real. Like, sorry for my language. Like, that's how actually baffling this is.
Open the door, place their infant inside, take the orange bag, which has resources for mom, shut the door, and literally just walk away. Baby will be in the box for right about 2 minutes on average. The longest time a baby has ever been in our box is 4 minutes and 20 seconds, and that was at a fire station when they were out on a fire. So you can see how quickly we get back to these babies. One and done.
That door that she just opened is essentially the mouth of Baal, the mouth of Moloch, and if people go with what they're saying, they're literally sacrificing their little life to Babylon, to the system, whatever you want to call it. That is messed up. Why are you gonna make the hardest decision someone should ever have to make? Some quick and easy access option, as if it's calling a Uber and you'll be here in 5. Mate, the world is absolutely finished. I'm absolutely speechless. I don't even know what to say. When you give them up to the system, the risks of the evil things that you see me speak about on most days literally triple.
There's a theory if your phone ever rings in the middle of nowhere with zero service, don't answer it. People say the call isn't coming from this world. There's a terrifying phenomenon hikers have been reporting for years, and it's called a no service call. And once you hear what it sounds like, you'll never go into the woods alone again. It usually happens miles away from civilization. Deep trails, mountains, national forests, no towers, no signals. Most phones don't even light up out there. But then out of nowhere, the phone starts ringing. Not a notification, not a glitch, a full-length ringtone. One hiker in Montana said his phone rang 3 times in a row. When he answered it, all he heard was breathing, slow, deliberate, matched to his own. He covered the microphone. The breathing continued. It wasn't an echo. It wasn't him. It was something listening. But the strangest case come from a man hiking in Alaska. His phone rang with a caller ID he didn't recognize. He answered it and heard himself screaming, not from the past, not from the future, because minutes later he slipped on the ice and fell exactly the way the scream sounded. Some believe the wilderness distorts reality, thins it out, allowing signals from parallel timelines to bleed into ours. But the darkest theory, the call isn't trying to scare you, it's trying to stop you, to warn you, because something on the trail ahead isn't supposed to see you yet. Stay weird.
Morbid facts about the cast of Stranger Things, Part 2. Grace Van Dien, aka Chrissy, revealed that she was groomed by a producer while working on another project, an experience she said left her traumatized enough to step away from acting entirely. She described it as one of the darkest times of her life, saying Hollywood had become unsafe for her and that the incident permanently changed how she views the industry. Before Stranger Things, Brett Gelman endured years of darkness, losing his younger brother in a sudden tragedy, spiraling through severe depression, and battling suicidal thoughts while he struggled to afford rent and avoid homelessness. He says he was quietly blacklisted in Hollywood for speaking out against abusive workplaces, leaving him convinced his career would be over before it ever started. Mark Steger, the performer inside the Demogorgon suit, has said the role was one of the most physically dangerous of his career. The practical suit trapped extreme heat, restricted movement, and weighed so much that he repeatedly suffered heat exhaustion, ligament strain, and even collapsed during takes. At one point, he collapsed so fast the crew thought he'd gone into cardiac arrest. Steger said the Demogorgon required total body endurance just to survive filming days.
Okay, they're just making it way too obvious now that there's a way more deeper demonic meaning to everything. This is literally a rapper from Atlanta that talks about money, girls, and his lifestyle. Why is there ancient writing on the walls carved into the stone, and then you have this ginormous creature walking around? There is nothing in any of these songs that requires this monster to be walking around on stage.
Less than 2 hours after the video you've just watched, that woman was found lifeless in her home. Her name was Christina Grimmie. She was a famous singer here in the United States. Many don't know it, but she did not die naturally. Christina made music and began to rise fast after appearing on the show The Voice. She debuted with a major label, then started touring around the world. She was meant to become a rising star, except that one deeply disturbed individual changed everything. You can even spot this man here, in the footage of her final concert, watching Christina from the crowd in an unsettling way, fully aware of what he was about to do. That man was Kevin Loibl. That night, the concert ended around 10 p.m. Christina then went to a small booth to sign autographs. At about 10:24 p.m., it was Kevin's turn to get his autograph, but just as Christina tried to thank him, he pulled out a Glock pistol and shot her 3 times. Christina's brother was with her that night. Seeing the scene, he tackled Kevin to the ground. But after a struggle, Kevin managed to break free, retrieved his Glock, and took his own life right beside Christina's body. And at 10:59 p.m., less than an hour after her concert ended, Christina Grimmie was pronounced dead. To support this story and her family, write love to Christina. It will mean a lot to many people.
The Dan Snyder thing that came out, the documentary called Quiet on Set.
Yeah.
And this is where all the kids start exposing Dan and how weird he was on set. And there's videos of Jamie Lynn Spears. Do you remember?
Yeah. Zoe 101.
Yeah. So there was one scene where she was talking about, it's called the backpack scene.
Yeah.
And she had like a lollipop thing or like a Gushers thing in her hand where the whole scene was like she couldn't open it, right? And she bit into it and the Gushers squirted on her face. And she said that, she was a kid back then, but behind the camera, all the people and Dan that were watching it, they're like, oh, that's a great blank shot.
No.
This man swore he discovered the secrets of the pyramids and then built something that shouldn't be possible. Coral Castle in Homestead, Florida is a massive stone structure built single-handedly by Latvian immigrant Edward Leeds Skalnin between 1923 and 1951, using more than 1,100 tons or 2.5 million pounds of oolitic limestone. Ed stood barely 5 feet tall and weighed about 100 pounds, but managed to carve, lift, and position multi-ton blocks entirely on his own, often at night and without witnesses, sparking decades of speculation about how he moved such massive stones without any machinery. Visitors swear the site feels engineered with impossible precision. One of its stone gates, weighing over 8 tons, can spin freely with the push of a finger. Ed always claimed he had discovered the secrets of the pyramids, but never explained his methods, leaving behind perfectly balanced stone doors, astronomically aligned carvings, and walls heavier than cars. Coral Castle remains one of America's most mysterious handmade monuments, built out of obsessive heartbreak after Ed's fiancée canceled their wedding just a day before the ceremony.
Would actually be a crazy plot twist if our country was literally being led by some actual lizards. Like, what is going on? Like, you wake up, think everything's getting better. Oh no, everybody's a freaking lizard. Let's go. You're literally just like, yo, Joe, how's your day? And he's like, oh, thanks, Joe. Appreciate the kind slurps. I don't know.
Was David's secret gay lover the person who actually moved the body? I'm not joking. Okay, this is a genuine theory that's going around, and there's more evidence for this theory than you might think. Okay, I'm keeping it real with you. I've got a lot of evidence that I'm going to show you in this video that makes me think that David might, in my opinion, have been in a gay relationship with Neo. And there might have been a whole lot of reasons why both of them wanted the alleged underage girlfriend of David to disappear. Now, I've got all the links lined up. I'm going to break it all down for you now. There is this crazy post that's currently going around Reddit that's saying, is David bi and could he have been in a gay relationship with Neo? And that might have been what led to the murder of Celeste over jealousy. But before we get to that, okay, I've got to tell you everything that's been going on, because TMZ did post this today and a lot of people have been distracted by the news that the body was allegedly frozen. They're overlooking this crazy, I can't believe what I'm seeing, okay? They've reported, and a lot of people have glossed over this, they're looking at the freezer now, but it's been reported a second suspect has been identified, and it was apparently the last person to use David's Tesla. LAPD homicide detectives have ID'd a second suspect in the death of Celeste Rivas, and it's someone who law enforcement says could be involved before, during, and after her death. Mark Garagos dropped the new info on the latest Two Angry Men podcast after speaking with people directly involved in the case. He said that law enforcement has done a stunningly impressive job connecting the dots in this case using a combination of cell phone and Tesla data along with location data from social media. Garagos and Harvey from TMZ both independently confirmed with sources that a central part of the case is a mysterious trip that David took to a remote area of Santa Barbara County in the middle of the night last spring. They had conversations with their sources, and investigators believed that her body might have been in the car, and Garagos insinuates various data showed the second suspect may have also been in the vehicle at that time. Who is this second suspect? Well, people have had a clue about this. People have had their theories about this for over a month. This was a post that came out quite some time ago when the private investigator, Steve Fisher, he said he knows who moved the Tesla with the body in the trunk. He basically inferred, okay, that he knew who it was that was the last person to drive the Tesla. It wasn't David. This was on October the 17th, 2025, over a month ago, okay? This is the second comment, the second top comment. The MF who moved the car right now, sweating. David and that MF. 1 month ago, Neo. All right, and they're cracking jokes here. Not even the Matrix will save him. But people thought a month ago that Neo was the last person who moved this car. And there's comments all over this post that are over a month old saying he has to be alluding to Neo moving the car. He called him out on X a few days ago. He's not the kind of person that made substantiated allegations. It has me questioning Neo as well. Okay? People are saying, this is what Steve tweeted. He said, let's speculate the Tesla was moved the last time and left in the parking spot it was impounded from right before tour started in San Francisco. Who actually moved the Tesla the final time? You don't get answers unless you ask questions. So I'll ask, was it Neo? Just curious. People are saying this Neo character is involved for sure. Also, he said the car was moved before they went on tour. Neo went on tour with David, and that is Neo. All right? And people are saying that there might have been some kind of romantic relationship going on between them. People are hating on Neo. It says, I went through his Instagram. He seems like the most brain-dead F-boy. If it was him, no wonder the whole attempt of disposing of the body was so messy. All right? Everybody's bringing Neo's name up. Comes up comment after comment after comment months ago, or over a month ago. And this theory, it's been going around a whole bunch. This hasn't just come out of nowhere. People are posting, what's with Neo? Why is everyone mad at him? People are trying to find out. And they're saying, from what the PI's been saying, it looked like he was the last person to move the car and he would have known she was in there due to the smell. He's pretty much gone lockdown on all socials. And I think he posted something a couple hours ago with a song and some odd stuff. We don't know why he used the song, but it's some bad timing with weird lyrics that can be inferred as him essentially mocking, but more acknowledging everything that's happening. Okay? People suspect Neo because he's known David for years. He's very close to David and overly affectionate with him in photos, especially after February 2025. There's easily 50 examples of the above. Steve made comments about Neo, and Neo's gone silent on social media. So this is an old clip of Neo saying that he's known David for years
now. So, like, people thought that I met him through Sakura, but no, I've known David for years, and I met Sakura like 2 months ago through Tofu. And then my worlds just kind of combined together, and it just was kind of funny.
So they've known each other for years. So look, let's just get to it, okay? This is a post that's currently going around on the Celeste subreddit. It said, is David bisexual? Him and Neo could have been in a relationship.
An Italian man is being investigated for allegedly dressing up like his dead mother in order to claim her pension. Police say he showed up at a government office last week trying to renew her ID. The staff called police when they noticed the picture on the expired ID did not match the person that was standing in front of them. When officers confronted the man and went to inspect his home, they say they found his mother's body wrapped in bed sheets and sleeping bags. Police say an autopsy will determine when and how she died.
Okay, but what did he realistically think was going to happen? There's just certain things that you cannot do for other people. Like, he really thought he hit the jackpot here, but, you know, look at him now.
Bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer.
Campbell's Soup vice president just said that their soups have 3D printed meat in them. He was also caught on recording saying that Campbell's products are for poor people and that he won't eat them because he knows that they are unhealthy with the bioengineered meat in them. This was all caught on audio recording by an employee named Robert Garza of Michigan. Garza filed a lawsuit against Campbell's on Thursday and released audio he says features Vice President and Chief Information Security Officer Martin Bally. A Campbell's Soup company spokesperson released a statement that said, "We are proud of the food we make, the people who make it, and the high-quality ingredients we use." The comments on the recording are not only inaccurate, they are patently absurd. Keep in mind the alleged comments are made by an IT person who has nothing to do with how we make our food. If the recordings are legitimate, the comments are unacceptable and they do not reflect our values and the culture of our company. Mr. Bally is temporarily on leave while we conduct our investigation.
This guy put on a bear costume and realized he couldn't take it off anymore. And it all started when he ordered the suit so he could make some extra money working as an entertainer. He turned on his camera to see how realistic the costume looked on him. But when he started sweating and tried to take it off, the zippers were suddenly gone, and the bear head seemed like it was sewn right into the suit. He panicked and started tearing at the costume, but nothing worked. And with every attempt, he was just getting weaker and starting to run out of air. You can hear on the video how he starts freaking out and breathing heavily. Then it becomes obvious he's not feeling well, and his anxiety keeps growing. The video is 4 minutes long, and at the end he just collapses on the floor from exhaustion, and then the recording cuts off. After he posted that video, he never showed up again and stopped posting anything. People started worrying about what happened to him, whether he got out, and why he's not recording anymore. And if you want to find the full video, just search for it here on TikTok, the guy in the bear costume.
Look, I used to love Oreos as much as the next person. But the fact is that these foods are full of ingredients that your body just doesn't get along well with. The lecithin, the enriched wheat flour, the seed oils like palm oil, canola oil, the high fructose corn syrup. It's creating inflammation in your body. It's not helping your energy, your mood, or your weight.
This video might be the reason you never use another glass straw in your life. Look at this shit. Listen to this.
Don't use the glass straws. It's not worth it. Broke it. They had to put me to sleep to take it out. By the time they got me to endo it, they couldn't find it.
So this woman was drinking her water with a glass straw. Then she felt she swallowed something. This shit surprised her because it was just water she was drinking. She looked at the straw and it was a piece missing from the straw. Mind you, this is a glass straw. She said the piece that was missing was about this big. You know how big this piece could be in your body? So after that, she realized she didn't feel anything. She let like about 2 hours pass by. She said she burped, but this burp wasn't normal because after she burped, a whole bunch of blood came up. So immediately she goes to the ER. The ER checks. They can't find the shit. The shit passed through her esophagus, went to her stomach, and then the shit was stuck floating around in her intestines. You know what a piece of glass could do on the inside of your body? Mind you, again, they couldn't pinpoint this glass. They sent this lady home and told her just wait. Wait for what? For that shit to tear her insides out? Really? Them glass straws might not be the move no more. I'm out.
Germany has just announced plans to build the strongest military in Europe again. But to achieve that, young Germans could see their lives disrupted overnight. Starting next year, Every 18-year-old in Germany will receive a government questionnaire asking things like, would you voluntarily join the military? Are you willing to serve? And what skills do you have? For men, responding is mandatory. For women, it's optional, at least for now. Then, the following year in 2027, things really start heating up. Every 18-year-old will face mandatory medical exams to assess whether they're fit to serve or not. That's roughly 300,000 to 400,000 people turning 18 every year. This is essentially because Germany wants to create a list of how many healthy bodies the military can call if the time comes to go to war. But why now? Well, put simply, Germany and all other NATO countries are preparing for a possible Russian attack by 2029. That is 4 years. Now, the significance of the year 2029 is a longer story, but Germany specifically wants to recruit an additional 90,000 active soldiers and another 200,000 reservists by 2035. And it's written into the bill, which was approved last week, that if they don't get those numbers by voluntary sign-ups, mandatory conscription is on the table. And in that case, university plans, careers, even personal decisions will have to be put on hold for young Germans, and perhaps others in Europe too, since France, the UK, and other Nordic countries have all hinted at conscription debates as well. But the question is, does a strong German military prevent a war through deterrence, or are we heading down a worrying path?
What you're seeing above me is actual, genuine artwork created by the storyboard directors and writers of SpongeBob. And trust me, there's a lot more and a lot worse where this comes from. This is the story of SpongeBob Behind Closed Doors, and I'm sorry if I ruined your childhood in advance. You have been warned. SpongeBob Behind Closed Doors is a book/collection of drawings where animators that worked at Nickelodeon put SpongeBob characters in very, very inappropriate situations. Now, how did this start? Back in 2001, the animators at the office played this inside joke where they would just draw SpongeBob and other characters in inappropriate situations on post-it notes and put them around the office. For example, there is a picture where the crew are doing a parody of the Got Milk ad, where SpongeBob is trying Patrick's milk. And if you don't really understand why I'm saying milk, maybe you shouldn't be watching this video. Or there's another one where Squidward is asking SpongeBob how his clarinet sings like that. And SpongeBob happily replies with, "It only sings for you, Squidward." SpongeBob does not own a clarinet. Shit like that. There is a ton more and there's a lot worse, but we could be here for hours. Essentially, the crew would put these post-it notes around the office and then take them down whenever there was a tour or kids coming to visit the space. And eventually, a writer and a storyboard director by the name of Sam Henderson took them all and compiled them into a book/collection where he handed them out to all the employees so they could remember the fun times. Obviously, being a smart man he is, didn't put any of the names down in case it got into the wrong hands or out to the public, and well, look where we are now. But if you want to see the rest of the pictures, just search up SpongeBob Behind Closed Doors online and you'll come across them. I don't know why you would, but Godspeed to you, bro.
So now we got Freaky SpongeBob. Okay, great. I mean, honestly, I'm not even surprised. Look at what they're doing with SpongeBob and Ice Spice. They're literally promoting a rapper that talks about very sexual things to a bunch of children. I'll put that in my next video because that's a whole different topic. But yeah, I don't think this is how SpongeBob was supposed to go.
And, you know, I know you know because I've heard it on your show before. I mean, we steal 100 to 300,000 children a year just here in this country. And we drain their blood and we mix it with a Passover bread. And then we throw the bodies into the slaughterhouses that we own. And we grind up all the bodies in the sausage and the hamburger. McDonald's is one of our favorite outlets. And the people, they eat it for breakfast. They eat their children for lunch. And, you know, us Jews, you know, we gotta do what we do. The most important thing to remember between you, Pastor Wickstrom, and me, Rabbi Avi Finkelstein of New York, that we both have two fathers, and so that's why we look at the world in two different ways.
And we know that there's a massive collision that's going to take place between two forces, don't we?
Well, that's what your book says. Our book says that we're going to take over the world.
Well, I look at you...
You're doing a pretty good job right now.
Yes, you've done a pretty good job, but you know there's quite an awakening coming. And my father, who's not your father, my father Yahweh, who isn't your father, of course your father is talked about by my father in John 8:44, stating that your father was Satan and that you're the descendant of Cain, who was the first murderer. And you know that's true because you teach it in your synagogue.
Well, that's true, but it's not for you Goyim to know. But right now it's too late. It's over for you, white race. So that's why I'm speaking so honestly here, to bring it out into the open so that you can see it for what it is. You've been teaching the people real good, but they don't wake up, do they? You don't get a lot of followers, do they? Because you know why? They're scared of us Jews, because they don't want to be called anti-Semites, and they believe that we're the chosen people, and so that's why we can do whatever we want to do, and we can get away with it because the white men are cowards, and we go to the synagogue all the time and have some Manischewitz and dance the Hava Nagila.
You know, it's interesting. I've told people for years and years, it's not that you Jews are hiding anything. You're coming right out on television, in the newspapers, on the radio, and you're telling the people exactly what you're going to do before you do it, and they're like they're brain dead.
Well, we did a good job with the public school system. We got you to put all of your children in there. You notice that the Jew doesn't put his children in there. They go to the Hebrew Academy, where we teach them the real things, and then they go to the synagogue.
Okay, well, that was a lot to take in. And some people will hear this and they would genuinely still not believe it. It's like, what more do you want? This dude literally just said it. He just said everything we need to hear. And, you know, some people will still be like, well, he could be lying. Like, why would somebody lie about this? You know what I mean? Like, some people just like to rub it in our faces and they just get away with it. But this is why we got to wake up and stop this nonsense, because this is just beyond disturbing, beyond the worst thoughts of our imaginations.
Did the US just accidentally invade Mexico? Well, videos are circulating online today showing a group of Navy soldiers having to remove a sign declaring a Mexican beach Department of Defense property. Now, the sign also read that this was now a restricted area by the authority of the commander, and that anyone entering may be detained and searched. But turns out, though, it wasn't just one sign, it was 6, and they were placed there on accident. Only after it was investigated by the heavily armed Mexican Navy, the Pentagon admitted that contractors hired by the DoD were instructed to place these signs on the Texas side of the border. But, quote, changes in the water depth and the typography alter the perception of the international boundaries location. My personal favorite part of the statement: government of Mexico personnel removed 6 signs based on their perception of the international boundaries location. And to make it even more spicy, the US's accidental invasion of Mexico happened on the same day that Donald Trump said that he would be okay with bombing drug cartels in the country. The Mexican government has now begun an investigation into the matter.
I mean, it's a good thing they caught this, because there could have been a random family enjoying their time on the beach, and then, you know, the cartel could have seen them and turned them into cheeseburgers. So I mean, I guess everything worked out in the end.
If you have this, you may be a serial killer. So, scientists discovered a gene that could actually make you a killer or be responsible for you being violent. And the scary part, around 30% of men have this. So, it's called the MAOA gene, or known as the warrior gene. So scientists discovered that people that have this mutation actually produce less serotonin, a chemical that controls their empathy. So for people with the mutation, it means they lack empathy and also are much more impulsive. Another crazy thing, this gene was actually used in court to argue a man's biological tendency towards violence. Now, you probably wouldn't even know that you have this. Like, there's not really a test for it, and you wouldn't necessarily feel a different way. But as I say, a large percentage of men in the world do actually have this without even knowing. So you may not act on these tendencies, but put into an environment where you may need to, it could trigger uncontrollable rage. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more tests and a lot more coming out on this. I mean, it's pretty big, so I'll keep you updated.
Tonight's the night. I'm gonna be careful making friends from now on, because, you know, but y'all just be safe out there. If any of your homies are looking at you a little too long, he might be thinking you're on the breakfast menu. So, you know, y'all just be safe out there, because it's crazy.
Morbid Facts, Part 775. In 2022, 39-year-old Stephen Dierkes was working at Caterpillar's foundry in Illinois when he suddenly slipped and fell into a large vat of molten iron heated to 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit. The human body has zero chance at that temperature, as he was vaporized instantly. A coworker said part of his body was still on the platform while the rest of it melted like candle wax. OSHA later found several severe safety violations, but nothing could undo one of the most horrific workplace deaths in history. Kazuko Fukuda, dubbed the Woman of Seven Faces, strangled a coworker in 1982 and disappeared, launching one of Japan's longest manhunts in history. But instead of hiding, she reinvented herself over and over, using fake identities, constant moves, and even plastic surgery to change her face. She stayed free for nearly 15 years, long enough that Japan's statute of limitations on murder was about to expire. But just months before time ran out, a diner owner recognized her from a TV show, and police confirmed her identity using fingerprints on a beer bottle. She was finally sentenced to life in 1999, but died in prison just 6 years later. Morbid Facts, Part 764. In 1993, 16-year-old Marie Robard seemed like the perfect student, quiet, polite, straight A's, and deeply trusted by her single father, Stephen. They lived alone together, and friends said she appeared mature and responsible, even helping to care for him. But beneath the surface, Marie was quietly angry about one thing, a custody ruling that forced her to live with her dad instead of her mother. She grew more distant over time, secretly obsessing over how to change her situation. Then one night, her father suddenly collapsed in excruciating pain and died just hours later. Doctors believed it was a heart attack, and Marie played the role of a heartbroken daughter so well that nobody suspected a thing. Life moved on. Over a year passed before a friend came forward with a chilling confession. Marie had stolen barium acetate from her school's chemistry lab and mixed it into her dad's refried beans, calmly poisoning him just so she could live somewhere else. Investigators exhumed the body, confirmed the toxin, and charged her with murder. She was charged as an adult, convicted, and sentenced to 28 years in prison. But in a shocking twist, the honor student killer was paroled after just 7 years, walking free before she even turned 30.
Breaking news, the 12-year-old girl who tried to take the life of her friend in the woods because Slender Man told her to has now escaped. As you may remember, back in 2014, Morgan and her accomplice tried to take the life of Peyton in the woods because Slender Man told them to. They then lured her into the woods and stabbed her 19 times. Thankfully, she survived, and at the time, all of them were only 12 years old. And after going to trial, Morgan was found not guilty due to her mental state, and she was sentenced to 7 years in a mental hospital. And earlier this year, a judge signed off on her going to a group home, even though many people rejected, saying she had violent communications with someone on the outside and watched violent things on the inside. And at this group home that was supervised, she was able to cut off her ankle monitor and escape last night at 8 p.m. and she's been missing ever since. And to make things worse, she has since been seen with an adult accomplice. Peyton and her family are currently being protected by law enforcement after hearing what happened, but authorities said as of this morning, they don't know where she is. Prayers to Peyton. Let me know what you guys think about this, and as always, I'll keep you guys updated.
Yeah, I think I just lost my faith in humanity. This girl stabbed her friend multiple times because Slenderman told her to do it. Her punishment was 6 years, and they put her in an environment where she could possibly escape. I understand some people make bad choices, but if someone is friends with Slenderman, I think you might just need to throw away the key and just never find it again.
Extra Morbid Facts, Part 55. During the midnight premiere of The Dark Knight Rises in Aurora, Colorado, a 24-year-old shooter entered the packed theater through an emergency exit wearing full body armor, tossed gas canisters into the crowd, and opened fire with an AR-15, a shotgun, and a Glock. In just 90 seconds, he fired more than 70 rounds, killing 12 and injuring dozens more as movie sound effects mixed with real screams. Among the victims was Alex Sullivan, celebrating his 27th birthday and first wedding anniversary. Jessica Gawi, a 24-year-old reporter who'd narrowly escaped a Toronto mall shooting just weeks earlier. And 6-year-old Veronica Moser, who was killed instantly beside her 25-year-old mother, Ashley. Ashley was shot in the neck and abdomen, left paralyzed, and lost her unborn baby. Later waking up in the hospital, repeatedly asking where Veronica was, not realizing she was gone. The shooter was found calmly waiting outside, calling himself the Joker, while police discovered his apartment rigged with explosives meant to kill the investigators who entered. His notebook revealed a cold plan to maximize casualties, as he was sentenced to 12 life terms plus 3,300 years. But survivors say no punishment could ever possibly match the horror inflicted on that night.
What's up, America? We've got 4 dead and 19 in the hospital because of toxic meat. sold at Trader Joe's, Kroger, and Walmart. So the CDC has issued a health warning over pasta meals sold at Walmart, Trader Joe's, and Kroger that sent 4 people dead, 19 to the hospital across 15 states because of contaminated meat in them. One pregnancy-related illness also resulted in fetal loss. Now, this is a listeria outbreak with meatballs and chicken in some products, like I said, at Kroger, Walmart, and Trader Joe's. So, don't eat that. If you have that, throw it in the fucking garbage. Here's the lot numbers from the USDA inspection marks. These were sold at Walmart, Kroger, and Trader Joe's. Here's this brand of chicken fettuccine Alfredo. Also, don't eat that. Or this. Don't eat that. Throw it away or contact the manufacturer. Here's the background information on that shit you don't want to be eating. So, this is the number of that. Dates of September 20th, 24th, and 27th, 2025. Here's the numbers for that chicken Alfredo. Right there, and the dates on that. And if you want, you can just read that right there. It has a lot of the numbers in it as well, like a lot number there. Yeah, it's kind of important. So if you have those products, contact the company or the store for a refund or throw it in the fucking garbage. No one wants to die or be shitting and puking for the next 3 days at the same time.
So the CEO of Campbell Soup got caught on a hot mic, or somebody recorded him saying that Campbell Soup's only for the poor. His family will never eat it because it's 3D printed chicken. And that's bad. That's real bad. If you're eating Campbell Soups, you're probably eating non-real protein. It's coming from the horse's mouth. Secondly, though, now a bunch of chefs that have been in the restaurant business for decades are coming out saying, yeah, I wouldn't be eating the chicken in the restaurant either. They've had to learn to cook the proteins a different way than they used to because it's now not real. It's coming out of a lab. It's being forced onto the public. The public hasn't been saying, they're not telling us what they're doing. They're just doing it. With that said, be very careful when you eat out, where you eat out. Those products are probably going into the bigger franchise restaurants. Like the little mom and pop store, I doubt they're buying their proteins from the distributor who's distributing said protein. But you gotta kind of know where you're eating now because they're coming after us in different ways, and if you're still eating Campbell Soups, I'll pray for you.
I think he genuinely forgot this is his product, because why would you ever say that about something you're selling? You know, if he was trying to take steps to better the product, fair enough. But he's literally disrespecting all of his customers and then telling them that they've been eating 3D printed chicken. What a wonderful way to promote your business.
Morbid Facts, Part 777. Child actor Kyle Massey, who played Corey Baxter in That's So Raven and Corey in the House, was once a family-friendly icon. But in 2019, a 13-year-old girl and her mother filed a lawsuit accusing Massey of sending her explicit photos, videos, and sexual messages. The girl had met Massey years earlier when she was just 4 after her mother introduced them on a set. According to the lawsuit, Massey later reconnected with her and promised to help launch her acting career. But 2 years later, prosecutors in Washington state charged Massey with immoral communication with a minor after investigators found that he allegedly sent nude photos and videos to the same underage girl through Snapchat. Kyle never showed up to his court date and a warrant was issued for his arrest, but his lawyers later claimed he'd never been properly served. While Massey denied all allegations, the case effectively ended his acting career, leaving fans stunned that the goofy kid from Disney could end up being accused of something so disturbing. As of now, no conviction has been publicly reported, and the legal proceedings have faded quietly from headlines, but the case still remains a strange, unsettling fall from fame for one of Disney's once brightest faces.
Did you see what's happening in Japan?
No, I haven't seen anything about
Apparently in Japan, bro, mixing animal and human DNA has been approved. What? The reason why they're trying to do this is because they're trying to solve the issue of organ donors. And pretty much what they're going to do is their idea is they're going to basically create this animal that has the human organs inside of it. And then they're going to extract the organs for humans. But there's a lot of people that are like, dude, that is so unethical.
That's the stop out here by the old field. What the hell is that? It's walking. I'm zooming. Okay.
I don't know if I'm just losing it, but why is bro's neck so long?
Dirty facts about history that school probably didn't teach you. Part 4. King Herod had his wife's body preserved in honey after she died. He then proceeded to have sex with her dead corpse for 7 years. Oh, honey. Albert Einstein not only married his first cousin Elsa, but also cheated on her with over 10 other women. Catherine the Great hired full-time professional foot ticklers whose only job was to tickle her feet and sing her songs. Soldiers during World War I were so desperate to get off the battlefield that they intentionally tried to get STDs so they would be discharged and sent home. In the 17th century, there was a form of twerking called molding cockle bread. It was the craze for young women at the time and turned the mundane actions of making bread into a sexual fun act.
Morbid Facts, Part 818. In 2020, Megan Thee Stallion survived an attack that left her bleeding in the street, shot in both of her feet as she tried to walk away from a late-night argument. Bullet fragments tore into the back of her left heel and scattered through the soles of both feet. Injuries so deep that surgeons couldn't remove all the shrapnel, and pieces are still lodged inside her body. The man she identified as the shooter was later convicted and sentenced, but Megan has said the worst part wasn't the pain. It was being viciously mocked online by people who insisted she was lying, exaggerating, or milking the incident while she was recovering from gunshot wounds. In 1910 Los Angeles, a woman named Miss Bell had been searching for her missing Scotch Terrier for weeks when her friend G.E. Seawright stumbled upon the answer by pure nightmare coincidence. The man was having a hot dog for lunch when he suddenly bit down on something hard, a small metal object hidden deep inside his meal. When he fished it out and wiped it clean, he immediately froze. Stamped on the metal was the identification number of Miss Bell's missing dog. Only then did he realize the horrific truth. The dog had somehow been cooked into the meat of a local hot dog stand.
If you ever see a child talking to their own reflection, watch closely. Some parents say the reflection doesn't always move the way it should. It's called the mirrored children phenomenon, and once you hear this, you'll never leave a kid alone with the mirror again. Parents all over the world started noticing the same bizarre behavior. Their children would sit in front of a mirror, sometimes for hours, whispering, laughing, or having full conversations with their reflection. But the creepy part comes when parents try to record it. Every single time, the reflection glitches, it lags, it moves a split second too late, or worse, it doesn't move the same way the child does. One mother said her daughter waved at the mirror, and the reflection waved back with the wrong hand. Another parent said their son turned his head, but his reflection's eyes stayed locked on the camera. A father in Ohio shared footage where his son leaned in to look at the mirror, and the reflection leaned in faster, like it was anticipating him. Experts tried blaming imagination until they saw what happens when the lights turn off. Kids say the reflection keeps talking when they're not looking, like it's independent, like it's aware. Some researchers believe mirrors act like thin barriers to parallel versions of us, and kids, with their developing brains, are more sensitive to whatever it is on the other side. The most disturbing theory? It's not a reflection at all. It's a version of them waiting for the right moment to switch places. If your child ever stares too long at the reflection, make sure the reflection is staring back for the right reason. Stay weird. If you ever see someone in public who doesn't blink, don't stare. People say those aren't actually people. There's a growing theory online about something called the never blink strangers, and people all over the world claim they've seen them. Not weirdos, not NPC jokes, actual strangers who never blink ever. And here's where it gets creepy. It only happens in transit spaces, train stations, airports, mall food courts, places where thousands of people pass through, but nobody stays. One guy in New York said he sat across a woman on the subway for 25 minutes. Perfect posture, perfect stillness, eyes wide open, not one blink, not even a twitch. When the train stopped and he stood up, she turned her head toward him, not her body, just her head, and instantly looked away, like she was cataloging him. A woman in LAX swears she saw a businessman standing completely motionless near gate 32. People were rushing past him, bumping into him, but he didn't react. He just kept staring straight ahead, eyes wide open, unblinking. When she finally walked around to face him, she realized he wasn't looking at anything. He was looking at where she was going, to go before she got there. And this is the part nobody can explain. Every person who gets close enough says the exact same thing. Their eyes don't reflect light correctly. There's no shine, no glare, like the eyes aren't eyes at all, but placeholders. So, if you're ever in a crowded place and lock eyes with someone who never blinks, remember this. You didn't find them, they found you. Follow for more. Stay weird.
What happened to this 15-year-old boy is so sad and unpredictable, and every single parent needs to hear this so they can warn their kids. This is Bryce Tate. He went to high school in Virginia. He was happy, healthy, played sports, had a lot of friends, but on November 6th, within a couple of hours, his life was over. His parents found him no longer alive, and they had no idea why he would do this. They wondered if they missed something. They asked his friends if he was bullied, but no one had any idea why this happened. That's until Tuesday night when they got a call asking to come into the police station because authorities found something on Bryce's phone. They said they learned Bryce was a victim of sextortion, a term they've never heard before, but everyone needs to know about it and warn their kids. Bryce was contacted by someone posing as a 17-year-old local girl who claimed to share mutual friends with him. They knew his school and used details to build trust, making it seem like a genuine connection from nearby. The conversation started innocently but quickly escalated when the person sent inappropriate photos and requested some in return. Like many 15-year-old boys, Bryce complied. And once the photos were sent, the extortion began. They demanded $500, threatening to share the images with his school, family, friends, and social media followers if he didn't pay. They shamed him relentlessly, convincing him that this one mistake had ruined his life forever. These criminals are professionals who prey on innocence all day long, and they're incredibly persuasive, especially to vulnerable children. Bryce, feeling trapped with no way out and believing his world was destroyed, was manipulated into taking his own life. They also shared that the first message was sent at 4 p.m. and the last one was at 7:09. All of this only took 3 hours. Rest in peace to Bryce. Please share this with anyone who has children to spread awareness of this horrible crime. Let me know what you guys think, and as always, I'll keep you guys updated.
What's that? Oh, people have been looking into glitter to see what it's made out of, and it appears it may be made out of humans? What? Yeah, there's been some investigating done, and they're finding out that glitter, they say that it's made of microplastics, but when they put it under a microscope, it has the exact same look as that of ashes of a human. Oh, goody. So people were trying to figure out who the main buyers were of glitter. So they went to the 2 main glitter factories and asked them, and they said, you wouldn't want to know, we're never telling you. So they investigated more, and they found out that their main buyers are morgues and crematories. Fun! More and more people are looking at ashes that they have, and they're looking under a microscope, and they are looking identical to that of what glitter looks like under a microscope. Fun!
So you're telling me when I was in school, I was literally sprinkling someone's grandma on my art project? I mean, I would hope this is not true. And especially like girls, they be using glitter on their face, like they're literally just sprinkling someone's ancestors all across their face.
So I just found out that apparently a YouTuber successfully managed to sneak into Epstein's island. This dude you are looking at, his name is Andy Bracco. He wasn't a famous figure, and he definitely wasn't rich. So he wasn't connected to, anything to do with, the island and whatnot. He was just a random urban explorer guy with a camera who would make videos and post it online. But one day, for no logical reason, he decided, you know what I'm gonna do today? I'm gonna attempt to sneak into Jeffrey Epstein's island. Everyone is so scared of this island. You know what? I'll be the one to go and do some research. And bear in mind, this island has maxed out security. It has cameras, guards, alarms, and it has a strong ass dark history behind it. So in August 2020, this guy flew to a nearby area, rented out a boat, and sailed to the island. But instead of going to the front of the island, he managed to make his way behind the island, successfully sneak past the guards, and make his way to the island. And when he got to the island, he explored it and found some pretty weird stuff. Abandoned mansions, hidden pathways, weird statues, the very suspect blue and white temple. Yeah, he managed to successfully sneak onto the island, explore it, make his way back to the boat, and left the island successfully. He uploaded what he saw, and apparently nothing happened. That is some crazy ballsy behavior, I'll be honest with you.
You know, I've had a lot of crazy ideas, but waking up and going to Jeffrey Epstein's island was definitely not one of them. I mean, honestly, he's gonna be safe though. He's a little too old for Jeffrey Epstein anyway, so he'll be safe.
Breaking news, the medical examiner is speaking out for the first time, and they're calling out the LAPD on how they're handling the case of David and Celeste. I mean, this is crazy. Just listen to this. The medical examiner released this statement saying at 10:54 a.m. on Friday, November 21st, the County of Los Angeles Department of Medical Examiner received a court order initiated by the Los Angeles Police Department to place a security hold on medical examiner case number 2025-14252 Celeste Rivas Hernandez. No records or details associated with the case, including the cause and manner of death and medical examiner report, can be released or posted on the website until further notice. They said the department's mission is to have full transparency with the community by providing information about our cases to empower people to make changes that save lives. The chief medical examiner said, since becoming the department head, I've worked on eradicating the practice of placing security holds on medical examiner cases simply by law enforcement requests. The practice of security holds is virtually unheard of in other counties and has not been proven to improve outcomes in the legal system. We are dedicated to serving our community with full transparency. However, the law precludes us from doing so while the court order remains in this case. They said they previously received a request for a security hold from the LAPD, but it was denied due to insufficient justification to warrant the hold. And they said for any questions about this case, please contact the LAPD. I mean, this is just a bad look for the LAPD. It makes you wonder why they're trying to withhold information from the public, pick and choose what they release, and how much information they've withheld in the past. I mean, what are they trying to accomplish? Rest in peace to Celeste. Let me know what you guys think about this, and as always, I'll keep you guys updated.
This is real footage of the most dangerous object humans have ever created, the elephant's foot inside the ruins of Chernobyl. It looks like a lump of rock, but it's actually corium, a molten mixture of uranium fuel, concrete, steel, and reactor parts that fused together when Reactor 4 tore itself apart in 1986. When this mass formed, it was so radioactive that standing near it for a mere few seconds delivered a fatal dose. In those first few hours, the elephant's foot wasn't just deadly to anyone who approached, it was still hot enough chemically and thermally that if it had burned through the foundation and hit the water reservoirs beneath the plant, it could have triggered a massive steam explosion. Soviet scientists warned that the blast would have torn open the remaining reactors and sent an uncontrollable cloud of nuclear fallout across most of Europe, rendering entire countries uninhabitable. The only reason that didn't happen is because liquidators, many of whom died horribly later on, managed to drain the water and seal the lower levels in time. Early attempts to photograph the elephant's foot were catastrophic. The radiation shredded camera film and interfered with electronics, leaving warped, blistered images where the object barely looked real. Simply entering the corridor meant almost certain death for the human body. The footage shown comes from 1996, 10 years after the accident, where the radiation had dropped just enough for a brief, tightly controlled visit. But it was still extremely dangerous. By then, the mass was emitting mostly alpha radiation, particles that can't penetrate skin yet become lethal if even a single speck is inhaled. The team used ventilation, masks, and moved quickly, knowing the room was still one of the most radioactive places on the planet. Nearly 4 decades later, the elephant's foot remains where it formed. It's much cooler now, but still too radioactive to touch, too heavy to move, and too toxic to ever be safely dismantled. It stands as a permanent monument to a disaster that nearly poisoned half a continent.
Campbell's is in hot water after their VP was caught on a hot mic saying that their soups use bioengineered meat and that only poor people eat them. In the recording, he said this.
We have shit for poor people. Who buys our shit? I don't buy Campbell's products barely anymore. So healthy. Now that I know what the in it, bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer. You?
If the vice president of the company is talking about his soup this way, I'm never eating it again. But that's my opinion. Let me know what you think about this in the comments, and make sure to follow if you want to get all your news in one place.
This woman believed that she needed to drink human blood like she was a vampire to survive, and she actually goes and eventually does it.
Really?
Yes, and she would call it feeding. So it was this girl named Tracy Wigington, and around this time, this was in 1989 in Australia, she started to have this weird want to to drink blood. She convinces 2 or 3 of her other friends. All of these girls are driving around and they're pretty much looking for a victim for this girl to feed on. They stumble across this man who was just leaving work, I believe, named Edward Baldock. They convinced him to get in the car, pretty much saying that they were going to give him a ride or something. They end up driving this dude, Edward, to a river, like close to a river area. They tell him to get out of the car. They all start getting out of the car. And immediately as they get out of the car, this girl, Tracy, goes and stabs this guy in his neck.
Oh, damn.
And basically stabs him in his neck like 27 times to the point where his head was almost decapitated, how much the wound was like open. After she stabs this guy and he's pretty much about to die, she goes straight to the wound in his neck and starts drinking it.
While he's alive?
While he's still barely hanging on to life.
Oh, damn.
She starts drinking his blood from his neck. Her and all her friends just get in the car and leave as if nothing happened. And after that, somebody stumbled across the body that was in that area. They end up alerting police. Police find this guy's body. These girls were not slick. Police put 2 and 2 together. They saw a lot of evidence that led back to these women who were 24 around that age at the time.
Damn.
These women were originally sentenced to life in prison, but apparently in 2012 the girl Tracy randomly got released.
Dude, that's insane.
Yeah, and they called her the lesbian vampire killer.
That's so crazy.
I feel like we all been through a lot of tough times in our life, and some situations we don't think we'll ever make it out of. But I think most of us can agree that we have never thought about sliming someone out and then just drinking their blood. Like, what? How does that even cross your mind? You have to be like next level bored and insane to just even think of something like that, for that to even be a concept on your brain, let alone actually do it. I don't know. We got to start throwing people back in a crazy box, because this is too far, bro.
They really don't care what we eat at this point. Bruh, I need y'all to hear this because this shit crazy, fool. The EPA just approved new pesticides that contain PFAS. You know, the so-called forever chemicals. And they approved it for vegetables we eat every single day. I'm talking about lettuce, broccoli, potato, like the basic things that we buy mostly every day or every time we run out of it. And here's the crazy part, because the PFAS is the same chemicals people been arguing about for years. They don't break down fast, they stick around in the environment, and now that same stuff, they're spraying it on the produce. Shit is crazy because every time we think we're doing a healthy choice, another decision is made behind closed doors. And yes, this decision was made behind closed doors, because did you hear about it? I didn't, until it's already approved. Y'all can't tell me this don't feel off, because at like what point do we just sit here and say like, damn, how the fuck does this shit get approved so quick without our knowledge? And before anybody come talking about why are you bringing this up, because this affects everybody. This is the type of situation that get brushed under the rug unless everybody speak about it, because when you're too silent on situations, that's when things become the normal. So stay aware, read your labels, and pay attention to what's happening to our food supply. Because I'm telling y'all, this shit don't sit right with
Jerry Seinfeld loves pancakes. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Let's go.
Pancakes that have the consistency of young human flesh. It's spongy and life-giving. You got a guy with brightly colored undergarments, and you got soft human flesh in front of you. You're in a weird place. I'm looking forward to this. This is really, really going to be a great pancake.
What are you talking about, Jerry? What do you mean by that? I mean, we all love pancakes. Put butter on it, syrup, maybe cinnamon. We'll get some home fries and eggs with it, right? Maybe some bacon and things like that. Maybe some toast. But what you compared it to had nothing to do with pancakes. Because pancakes are soft and fluffy. As a matter of fact, what diner was that? Stop playing with me, son. This video is for entertainment purposes only. I don't know what Jerry Seinfeld was talking about when he said that. But obviously he was just playing around because that's not true. Shut up! What is going on in there, guys? Jimmy Fallon, you knew about this whole time? Stop playing with me, son. It's not a game, right, guys? You know what time it is. Shut up! Why didn't you say anything, Jimmy? Why? You know why? Because they were just playing around, guys. They joke around. These are celebrities. These were 2 celebrities enjoying their breakfast, having a good time, discussing pancakes. Stop playing with me, son. It's not a game, right, guys? You know what time it is. Shut up! But I'll tell you one thing. If I ever see Jerry Seinfeld, and I'm at a diner, and I hear him talking like that while I'm eating my pancakes, We just playing around here, guys.
Why would you even describe a pancake like that? Even if you're joking, what does that have to do with a pancake at all?
Bro, we gotta talk about the Celeste Rivera and David case, because this shit just went from tragic to wild as fuck. Because first, investigators was eyeing a second suspect when it comes to this case. And right when you thought things couldn't get even wilder, they dropped this. So now new reports are saying that her body, Celeste's body, was frozen, and now they can't determine the cause of her death. I'm sitting here like, bro, what? So in my mind, I'm thinking they probably got her higher than a kite, you know what I'm talking about, froze her body, and then dismembered it. I don't know if y'all remember this, but early on in the reports, people were saying that him and his manager was arguing. People was already pointing that it could have been his manager with him. So I don't know, y'all. That probably is a second person, but we don't know yet. What we do know for sure, though, it was his car. The car was not too far from his place. They were messing with each other. And she's unalive now. Shit is just getting weird, bruh. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down below.
There's been a very disturbing update in the Celeste and David case. It's been revealed that before Celeste was found in David's Tesla, she had been refrigerated. Also, the state that police found Celeste in was absolutely horrifying. There was dismemberment done to Celeste that was so extreme that police had problems telling if she was a boy or a girl at first. Now, police have determined that when she was put in the Tesla originally, she was frozen and she was basically left in there to thaw out. As of right now, David has not been charged with any crime, and his lawyer has denied any request for comments.
This dude literally had everything. He had a fan base. He did what he loved. He was making money. He was taking care of his family. Then bro decides to get an underage girlfriend, take her off the earth, and then put her in a freezer, and then put her in his trunk. Like, I promise you, it's really not that hard to be normal. It's not. But, leave it up to David to do something disturbing, of course.
What if I told you there are people who see the same strangers in completely different states wearing the same thing and no one knows why? There's a theory online called the repeating strangers phenomenon, and once you hear it, you'll start checking every crowd you walk into. It starts the same way every time. Someone notices a stranger, nothing unusual, just a normal person. But then they see them again, hundreds of miles away, weeks or months later. Same face, same expression, same clothes. One woman says she saw the same tall man in a gray hoodie in Denver, then Phoenix, then LA, all within 2 months. Every time, he just walked past her like she didn't exist. A trucker said he kept seeing the same woman standing on the side of different highways, always staring straight ahead, never waving, never moving. But when he pulled over to ask if she needed help, she vanished. And here's where it gets unsettling. People who track these encounters say these strangers never interact, never speak, never acknowledge anyone. It's like they're copy-pasted NPCs that show up across multiple locations for reasons we're not supposed to understand. Some believe they're part of a global surveillance program. Others think they're glitches in the simulation. But the scariest theory, they're not strangers at all. They're observers, and they're checking something about us. So if you keep seeing the same face in different places, don't ignore it. Stay weird.
The woman convicted of the Slenderman stabbing is currently on the loose. So if y'all remember, back in 2014, a girl lured her classmate into the woods and nearly ended her, claiming that Slenderman made her do it. Well, now that same girl that stabbed her classmate has escaped authorities and she is now missing. Saturday night, she cut off her ankle monitor and escaped the Wisconsin group home that she was being housed in. She was last seen with an adult acquaintance, but as of right now, authorities have no idea as to where she might be.
After hearing this, I'm definitely going to be staying inside, because what do you mean Slenderman's best friend is outside? Yeah, I'm good. Y'all can go outside. I'm going to stay inside. I'm good on this one. But y'all stay safe and stay blessed, because we got people like this running around.
If you like to drink milk and eat your cereal in the morning or some milk in your coffee, you're going to want to listen to this. The FDA is no longer quality checking the milk that we drink. You heard it correctly. They're no longer going to quality check the milk. What does this mean? That you're going to have to start checking your milk, making sure you're buying a little bit more expensive brand milk. And by expensive milk, I mean organic. We already know that organic milk could go up to $8 to $9 a gallon. Right now, the FDA does not have anybody in the position of quality milk checking. Until they restaff and hire new people, this is what you can do. You can look for the milks that have the sticker that says USDA, certified organic. Right now, I'm going to give you the list of the 4 top milks that take pride in their quality. Number 1, Organic Valley, Stormfield Organic, Horizon Organic, and Fairlife. These are some brands that you can purchase. And also, take notes to this. If your milk gets above 40 degrees, make sure that you throw it away immediately. Don't try to put it back in the refrigerator. Because I know this happens to many of us. Me, sometimes I make cereal at 8 in the morning. Next thing you know, I realize, hey, I didn't put the milk away, and it's already 5 p.m. A la basura. Let me know what you guys think about all this down below in the comments. And like always, don't forget to follow for more viral news. Ciao, pescado.
I keep telling y'all, stop eating these processed foods. It's gonna mess around and send you to your maker. So apparently the truth about Campbell Soup is out. And allegedly they've been selling chicken that ain't chicken. You heard what I just said? The chicken that they're putting in the soup, allegedly that chicken is not chicken. Matter of fact, look at this shit. Listen to this shit.
Poor people. Who buys our shit?
You heard that?
I don't buy products barely anymore. It's not healthy. Now that I know what the in it. Even in a soup, I look at it, look at meat. Bioengineered meat.
You hear that?
I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer.
If you heard that video, he said, allegedly, that he doesn't want anything that came out of a 3D printer. Allegedly, he said the chicken is bioengineered meat. And to top it off, he said their products are for poor people. And that was the vice president of Campbell's. That tells you everything you need to know about how they feel about you. It may look like chicken. It may taste like chicken. But you heard what he said. They're saying that that rant was well over an hour long. So you know he had way more to say than that. Do what you want to do with that information. I'm out.
Thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your favorite part of the video made you tremble in your boots. And we're going to be on to the next one. Thank you.
Bro, squatters have hit the absolute jackpot after managing to take over an entire Spanish resort. All of the 92 suites are now occupied, and the owners still legally have to pay gas and electricity. This is Callao Sport Hotel on the popular holiday island of Tenerife. And about 10 months ago, it was broken into by a group of 12 what they call mafia squatters. What a name. And they've essentially refused to leave ever since. And they are now even renting out rooms as if they own it. And as a result of this, the crowd living there is now risen to about 200 people. Bro, the Christmas rave they're about to have is going to be outrageous. But you're probably wondering, how the hell is this possible? Well, Spain is renowned for having very strict tenant protection laws, especially when it comes to evictions. So the actual procedure to have someone removed from your property can be very lengthy and very difficult. In fact, the owners say that the bills they now have to pay per month is about 6,000 euros. They say that is triple of what they were paying when this resort was operational because of how many people live there. But the squatters, on the other hand, they're also blaming the government for this. They are saying that authorities have long neglected locals in favor of benefiting tourists. And because of that, house prices have reportedly risen to about 80% in the last decade in the region. So they claim that they can no longer afford rent, so they just kind of go wherever they need to. Now, after a year of litigation back and forth, a court has finally ordered the eviction of the squatters within 30 days. So I guess we'll see if they actually leave.
I don't understand how people could wake up one day and be like, all right, I'm gonna take over your house, and there's nothing you can do about it. If you walk into my house and say, yo, I'm gonna live here and there's nothing you can do about it, I'm going to pick you up and throw you off the second story. Because what do you mean you're gonna live in my house and there's nothing I can do about it?
People are still refusing to buy Butterball turkeys for Thanksgiving this year because of last year's incident. To be honest, I am not surprised. As all of you likely know, last year a bunch of employees that work for Butterball decided to have not family-friendly fun with the turkeys before they were sold. After that information was revealed to the public, everyone stopped buying Butterball turkeys, everyone started to return the Butterball turkeys that they bought, and now this year they are just sitting on the shelves. No one is buying them once again. They are the last turkeys there at all these stores because no one wants anything to do with them, and rightfully so. And I'm curious to know your thoughts about all this.
I mean, fair enough. I don't think anybody wants someone diddying their turkey. And it's going to take a lot to get rid of this reputation. What are you going to do? Make a commercial saying, but guys, our employees stopped making love with our turkeys, so you can buy them now. Like, oh yeah, I really trust you after the first incident.
The following video of Obama giving a speech looked normal at first, but later people noticed a very strange man standing in front of the stage. He was part of the security team, and his movements looked far too jerky. His head kept flicking side to side in sharp, repetitive motions, almost like an animal scanning its surroundings. Even his facial features also looked unusually sharp, almost inhuman. It raised the question that what if, in order to protect someone so powerful, they used beings that weren't human? Maybe that reptilian figure was placed there to sense things we couldn't. Now, it's time for the most shocking reptilian caught on camera. As you've seen before, most of these strange clips always seem to involve those with the most power over, and this time, it's none other than Donald Trump. During an event, his eyes seemed to shift. The lens changed completely as he blinked, almost like it morphed in real time. But it didn't stop there. On another day, his entire face appeared to shift for a brief second, before snapping back to normal. The next one is even more shocking. Here, his pupil looked vertical, just like a reptilian's eye.
The CIA recently declassified a book that says all of humanity will soon be wiped out in a global cataclysm. The book is called The Adam and Eve Story. Part 1 and 2 blew my mind and they're up on my profile. What really trips me out is that the events outlined in this book actually gives reasonable explanations to history's greatest mysteries, such as Antarctica, the lost city of Atlantis, the pyramids all around the world, Stonehenge, Easter Island, the forgotten Pacific continent of Mu, the list goes on. And virtually every religion in ancient folklore and history talks of a catastrophe that resets the entire world. Like the famous Noah's Ark, the hurricane flood of the Mayans, the Sumerians had the flood in Gilgamesh, and all written completely independent of each other and all prophesizing that it will happen again, aka Judgment Day. Same goes for the legends of the pyramids and all these ancient structures all around the world. Each of these cultures have an almost identical story of some greater being coming down and building these monuments for them, despite these ancient civilizations being tens of thousands of kilometers apart and never coming into contact with each other. Not a single one of them actually taking credit for these incredible achievements themselves. I don't know about you, but if I was some great civilization that built something as incredible as the pyramids, I would definitely want to be flexing on everyone about it. But these stories of the pyramids and worldwide floods, remnants of our advanced ancestors passed on to the Stone Age of the next civilization of humans. And again, the book that outlines these events has been dismissed by everyone.
Oh, they're so sweet. I love how they're just trying to kill each and every one of us until there's nothing left besides them and slaves. That's so sweet. I don't know if it's just me, but I think the CIA loves us. Can't you tell? Or is love in the air?
Morbid Facts, Part 821. Donald Glover has revealed that he secretly suffered a stroke while on tour in 2024, collapsing with severe head pain and blurred vision before doctors in Houston told him what had happened. Medical scans then uncovered something even more horrifying, a hidden hole in his heart that required multiple surgeries, while he was also dealing with a broken foot and crushing exhaustion. The combination led to a cascade of health failures that didn't just threaten his tour, they nearly killed him. After months of treatment and recovery, Glover says he's stable now and finally healthy again. In 2002, 21-year-old Angela Walker and her brother attacked 32-year-old Canadian tourist Derek Rogers on a beach in Maine, reportedly knocking him unconscious and stuffing sand into his airways until he suffocated. Walker later lied to police about what had happened, before pleading guilty to manslaughter and perjury and receiving 10 years in prison. More than 2 decades later, in 2025, she was elected to the Bangor City Council, an outcome that drew outrage from the Rogers family and revived public attention towards the brutal killing.
No, because this world is sick and is going to hell in a handbasket. Do y'all know about Nickelodeon and their popular slime? Have y'all heard why? The reasons why? I'm gonna be honest, when I found this out, even like putting this video together, tough. These people are sick and twisted demons, dude. Do y'all know that the reason why they made the specific slime for Nickelodeon, that green color, does it ring any bells to y'all? That green color, that green screen color. Do y'all know why they made it that and they would be obsessed with pouring slime all over kids on Disney, especially in the early 2000s, in this era, the 2010s? I'll tell you why. It's because when you put something or someone in front of a green screen, you can change that whole effect. You can change the background, you can change, or even if like somebody's like wearing pants and then you put like a small green screen cover over it, you can put anything in that place that you want. And so slime is a really thick, weird substance, and they pour it over these children and they make it a green screen color so they can change the color and what's on the child's head, face, and body. Do y'all pick up what I'm putting down? Nickelodeon is sick. These like, it's never, when we find out the truth of the world, and right now everything is being exposed. Here in the last like 10 years, it's like everything has never been what it seemed. They do it so they can make this look like you know what. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know if you can say it on TikTok in correlation to what I'm saying, but they make it look like, you know, like the baby stuff, the stuff that makes babies. And that way, when these sick and twisted directors and people who go and do all this, they can look at it as if it's that thing versus it actually being slime. That's why they're obsessed with it. That was why. That was why.
I know who's behind Bitcoin, and it ain't some fucking Japanese guy in a cave.
Pay attention to this clip.
This is good, Chop.
Now, before y'all go in the comments, did y'all see the demon look at the video? Now, the girl had to double back and look back herself like, did I see what I just see? Yes, she did. So she happened to look back like, did anybody else notice the man in the video? Now, y'all, look now. That looks like some Chucky, Jeepers Creepers, I Know What You Did Last Summer video. Yo, I think I would have picked up all my stuff and I would have just stopped recording, stopped streaming, and I would have been going. Nah, she looked like she was somewhere eating inside of like the mall area or something like that, like she was eating. My food would have been ruined. My whole day would have just been, what? I need a part 2. We need a part 2 because who was the man? Y'all let me know in the comments. Y'all let me know in the comments. I'll call y'all back.
Why do most of these concerts feel like rituals now? Demonic rituals. This is Gunna's recent show. And what do you notice about this show? Yeah, that's right. It is a demonic ritual. And most of these concerts anymore feel like demonic rituals. Specifically, these secular concerts feel like demonic rituals. And there is a reason for that. Because these concerts are designed as a way of harvesting your energy. Yeah, this isn't just a conspiracy. This is why they use certain visuals like you see right here on screen. This is why, because these artists are literally harvesting your energy if you choose to go to these shows, these certain shows. This is why stuff like this is happening. This is truly, truly demonic. If you can't see that, I don't know what else to really say. What do you think?
Back in the VMAs, Miley Cyrus was hosting VMAs. She was like doing a call out to everybody in the crowd. They're like, oh, we got The Weeknd.
Oh, yeah.
We got Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
And then one of them, she said, shout out ASAP Rocker.
Oh, ASAP Rocker. Yeah.
Yeah, ASAP Rocker.
Yeah, but
yo.
And then he went like,
yeah. And then ASAP Rocky's like, stop it. So there's a Mandela effect.
What?
With ASAP Rocky. Check this out. What do you remember?
What he was wearing?
No, not even that. Plot twist, she never said ASAP Rocker.
No.
Yeah, man, she never said ASAP Rocker.
No.
Everyone from our era, we all remember that.
What the f did she say then?
Look, listen.
No, that's gotta be AI.
I like your swoop. The Weeknd.
See, The Weeknd.
Yeah.
And they're all cheesed. Remember this?
Yeah.
And ASAP Rocky.
ASAP Rocky. She just said ASAP Rocky.
People are freaking out after finding out what sleep paralysis actually is. You wake up. You can't move, you can't speak, but there is something in the corner of your room or laying on your bed. It's not a dream, you're not waking up, you swear it is real, you can feel it, hear it, and even touch it sometimes. Some of you may have been unlucky enough to actually experience sleep paralysis, but this is what it actually is. There is a lot of factors that can cause and heighten it, things such as depression and anxiety, but it actually happens when your brain is stuck in something called REM atonia. Your body has a lot of different stages of sleep. REM is the one where you are dreaming, but here your body gets stuck. When you're in the REM stage of sleep, your muscles shut down so that you can relax and recover, of course. So what sleep paralysis actually is when you're in that stage of sleep and your muscles are completely shut down, but your mind suddenly wakes up randomly, you can't move. But your dreams are still happening because you've woken up too early, but you can't move, your body's still shut down, but it projects it into the real world so it literally is real. It's essentially your brain mixing nightmare imagery with your actual bedroom, but you can't move, and that's why it feels like there's someone sitting on your chest.
This is not what you're supposed to hear from supposedly the happiest place on earth. And that's why you need to listen up. Something weird is happening at Disney, and y'all cannot ignore this. 5 people have died at the World Disney Resort within a month. And the latest one that happened, it happened at the Saratoga Spring Resort on November 8th. People are saying that's a quiet resort, and you would never expect something like that to happen, let alone at Disney, because like they said, it's the happiest place on earth. Nobody's saying Disney is not safe, but when the same theme park keep having incidents happen within a short time period, people gonna start asking questions, and rightfully so. Because it's a little weird. It's becoming a little weird. Once, twice maybe, but 5? It's crazy how life works. Some people say they unalived themselves. Maybe they did. But why go to a happy place to do that? It's weird. Or if it's natural, just imagine you go to a place where you vacation at with your family, make memories, have fun, and then that's the last place you ever was alive. Y'all let me know.
Not many people know this, but there was a man who could not stop getting struck by lightning for 40 years, and the problem got so bad that he ended himself, and the story just gets way crazier from there. Roy Sullivan was a park ranger at Shenandoah National Park in Virginia in the 1940s, but he also might be the unluckiest man in history, because one day in 1942 at work, while he was up in a lookout tower surveying the grounds, a lightning storm started, which was common, but this time something extremely odd happened. Lightning started to strike the tower, and Roy counted 7 to 8 strikes before he decided to finally leave the cabin and make a break for it. But when he did that, he got struck by lightning, which knocked him unconscious, blew off his big toenail, burned his leg, and set his hair on fire. But then another extremely odd thing happened. In 1969, 27 years later, Roy was driving his truck through the park when lightning struck a tree, bounced off of it into his truck window, and hit him in the head, knocking him unconscious and setting his hair and his eyebrows on fire. But the interesting thing is that whereas the first lightning strike was very traumatic for him, the second time he started to think about the logistical problems. Like, for instance, how massively inconvenient it is to have to regrow your hair and eyebrows. So from that point on, he started to carry around a bucket of water with him everywhere he went, which turned out to be an incredibly smart move because only a year later in 1970, he was sitting on his front porch and lightning struck a power transformer, which arced and hit him in the shoulder, setting his hair on fire again, which he actually doused out with the water. And then from 1972 to 1977, he was struck 4 more times by lightning. In 1972, he was struck through an open door in his house. In 1973, he was struck while out on a patrol route. In 1976, he was struck while on a trail. And in 1977, he was struck while fishing on a lake. And each time his hair caught on fire and he doused it out with his bucket of water, which was the greatest investment of his entire life. And also during that last lightning strike in 1977, Roy Sullivan said that after he got struck on his way home, he was approached by a bear who wanted to take his fish that he had caught, and he had to fight it off with a stick. The lightning strikes were confirmed by a doctor, but there's no way of proving that story. We just kind of have to take his word on it. Throughout the 1970s and early 80s, Roy Sullivan became somewhat of a local legend. He actually ended up writing a book, and he got into the Guinness Book of World Records for most amount of time struck by lightning. But unfortunately, he ended up kind of feeling like he couldn't escape the curse and didn't want to spend another 20 to 30 years getting struck by lightning all the time, and so he actually ended his life in 1983 at the age of 71. He was referenced in the game Firewatch, though, and will forever serve as a cautionary tale to exercise extreme safety precautions during lightning storms. And real quick, if you like my videos and you want to see more in-depth writing from me about movies, TV shows, pop culture, strange facts, and fascinating history, you can do that here.
I don't know why this dude didn't try the lottery. They say you have more of a chance of winning the lottery than getting struck by lightning. And this dude got struck like 100 times. So I think he was due for a win somewhere. But this story is actually really sad. I could not imagine going through my life not knowing if I'm going to be struck by lightning every single day. And this dude literally carried around a bucket of water from how many times he got struck by lightning. Grandpa, why do you carry around a giant bucket of water? He's like, oh, because I just casually get struck by lightning.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. This whole DC situation feel weird as fuck now. So boom. 2 National Guard members get shot in broad day. And the first reports that came out was they were unalive. Now, they're coming out saying those reports were false and that they're in critical condition, they're still alive. So, which one is it? They said the mayor was the one who came with these false statements that they were unalive. But that's not even the craziest part, y'all. So now, Trump decides to send 500 more National Guard members to DC. But for what though? I'm hearing you got some military trucks rolling around, you got barricades, and I'm just sitting there like, for what? This don't feel regular. Is this a regular response, y'all? Let me know. And what I'm really trying to understand is, what is it with the 500 soldier military surge in DC? Is it because of this shooting? Is it because they know more than what they're telling us? What the f is going on, y'all?
They capture a mermaid on video. This family was vacationing, but they were not expected to be right next to a mermaid. One of them decided to take this short video where you can see it very clearly. Do you think this is possibly how mermaids look like?
Wait, did you hear what he just said? Just listen to this because it exposes something on stream.
How old are you? I low-key stopped counting. Bro.
Yeah, how do you look so young? What's your secret?
Like...
For anyone who missed it, right here, it sounds like he's saying blood. Keep watching.
How do you look so young? What's your secret?
Like...
And this isn't the first time that he's brought it up. Remember when MGK and Megan said this line?
It's just a few drops, but yes, we do consume each other's blood on occasion for...
Everyone thought they were joking, but what if they weren't? And here's the part that gives me chills. This happened on Aidan Ross's stream. The same circle where streamers keep hinting at selling their soul. Every time they laugh, but it's not really funny, is it? If you think this story is wild, watch these 2 videos. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below.
Bro, just drink water and eat broccoli. It's really not that hard. You don't gotta drink your wife's blood. That's kind of just like disturbing. Like if the right woman ever does come my way, I'm never gonna be like, oh, you know, I'm really thirsty. Can I have some of your blood? Like, yeah, Sean, you're such a romantic dude. Thank you. Thank you for that relationship advice.
Literally everyone in the world right now is starting to throw away their glass straws because of that one glass straw video. For those of you that may not have seen that one glass straw video, it was posted by this lady right here when she was in the emergency room when she recorded her video, and she was letting everyone know to throw away all their glass straws. She was telling everyone this because she was actually using a glass straw to drink a drink when she actually felt herself swallow something sharp, and she looked down at her glass straw and noticed that it just randomly broke and she had no idea, and she had to be rushed to the emergency room. The piece of glass that she swallowed could have done some serious damage, but thankfully she was able to make it to the emergency room in time and everything ended up being okay. But now no one wants to have any of those glass straws in their households just because of that happening. And honestly, I don't blame anyone.
This pastor reportedly farts directly into people's nostrils as a healing process to cure all spiritual and physical problems. Pastor Christ Penelope of Sevenfold Holy Spirit Ministries went viral after reports and photos surfaced showing him farting directly into people's faces. A viral photo shows him literally sitting on people's heads. People claim that he positions himself so that the fart goes straight into their nostrils because, according to the pastor, farting in a person's nostrils is important so that the healing power can enter the body and do its work. He has defended this bizarre ritual by comparing it to the moment in Genesis where God put Adam into a deep sleep before creating Eve, saying that the person he sits on is in that same kind of spiritual sleep, so therefore they don't feel anything. He also argues that the Bible never says Adam complained or said, "God, you're hurting me," so his followers shouldn't complain either naturally. Shockingly, many people reportedly wait up to 2 months just to get the chance to be farted on. And some followers even collect his farts in containers. Former church members have said they only came for prayer and deliverance, not to get their face farted on, and what he's doing is obviously unbiblical. But Penelope has reacted to the criticism by denying that he's doing anything wrong, insisting, "I don't fart on people, I heal people," and claiming the outrage only comes from people who don't understand how God can work through the human body in ways that might look strange. Do you think these people deserve to get farted on if they fall for this?
Well, obviously this is legal for some weird reason, but I think we should still throw him in jail because my eyeballs are very disturbed from what I just watched. So, if not for what he's doing, for the sake of all the trauma that he just caused me and all of us watching this video, because I know you all just watched what I watched, and I wish I could take that time back, but unfortunately we can't. So, this is like a support group now. We're going to talk through it, and let's just move on to the next clip because I don't ever want to think about that ever again.
Scariest conspiracy theories that will seriously change your life. You ever had a memory before that feels extremely vivid, like you 100% remember it, but it never actually happened? A lot of people get this. They might say, "Oh, I've been on holiday to this location, but actually haven't," although you clearly remember it in your mind. Most of you probably know the theory of parallel universes by now. I'll recap quickly. Essentially, the theory that there are parallel universes out there exactly the same as ours, where we basically exist as well, but things play out slightly differently. For instance, you may walk over the road here and be fine. In another parallel universe, you may be hit by a car. Now, this is known as memory slippage. Great name for a theory, I know. But basically suggests that when you get a memory that you are crystal clear happened but it didn't, it's your alternate version of yourself having that memory and it's slipping through. If you are on the bandwagon that does believe in parallel universes like genuinely, then this does kind of make quite a lot of sense because there could be infinite parallel universes out there and you could have infinite memories of things that never happened to you but happened over there. I'm not too sure on the whole parallel universe thing, but it does make sense in some kind of capacity. See you in the next one.
Yo, there was a viral video on TikTok, actually, and this woman, she went to a thrift store, and she was making videos. She says, "Oh, look, I'm at this value village, and I see all of these different pasta. I'm thinking I'm gonna make a nice pasta dish. I think I'm gonna use this one." So she documents her whole, I guess, cooking, taking those bottles that she found at the thrift store, made the pasta, ate it. In the next videos that she's posted, fam, her face swelled up like a balloon.
Oh my god.
And she went to the hospital. She was hospitalized.
Yeah, well, she was using Value Village pots and pans, right?
It was, the pasta, like the actual,
You can buy pasta at a Value Village?
Fam, it wasn't even supposed to be eaten.
She treats this doll as if it's alive. So there's this woman on TikTok that takes her doll out and treats it as if it's a live child. She'll do things like put it in a car seat and go and get Happy Meals for it that she then feeds to the doll. Now, a lot of these videos with the doll are incredibly disturbing, like this one, where she uses an audio that implies that the doll stabs people. And then there's her other videos where she treats the doll as if it's alive and what she's doing is completely normal. Now, in her profile picture, she has pictures of what appears to be real children. So So I don't know if she actually has kids and just doesn't make videos with them. For all I know, the way she treats the dolls could be some kind of trauma response, so please treat her with care.
Finally tonight here, James Longman with a stunning look inside the newest archaeological museum in the world, right there in the shadow of the pyramids.
Tonight, the wonders of ancient Egypt reborn for the modern world. The Grand Egyptian Museum, finally complete, decades in the making. It's the world's largest archaeological museum, some 100,000 artifacts, celebrating 7,000 years of ancient civilization. And its crowning glory only now revealed, the golden treasures of King Tutankhamun, Egypt's most famous pharaoh. 103 years to the day since his tomb was discovered, all 5,000 artifacts found alongside his mummified body are now on public display for the very first time, and we were some of the first to see. Among them, King Tut's funeral mask.
This is what millions of people will come to see, one of the most important and recognizable artifacts in all of human history.
The exhibit, a journey from mummification to the extraordinary treasures.
You know, I'm not an architect or anything, but I think y'all are in for some very bad luck, because what do you mean you just opened this dude's tomb? I'm pretty sure it was stored like that for a reason, and you know, whatever you just opened, that's all you, bro. You can keep that over there. I don't want none of that. So saying, if you go there and then you go home and then King Tut is walking around your kitchen, hey man, that's your fault, bro. You better make him some breakfast or he's gonna be real cranky with you.
Not many people know this, but in the 1990s, there was a conspiracy theorist with a public access show where he ranted about crazy crackpot theories every single day, and nobody took him seriously. But then after he died, it turned out he was right about everything. In the late 80s and throughout the 1990s, there was a man named Clay Tiffany who had a public access TV show called Dirge of the Charlatans, where he would sit for hours on end and just rant and ramble about all kinds of conspiracy theories about elite government corruption within the city. He would talk about judges laundering money through nonprofits and NYPD officers falsifying crimes to throw people in jail, and members of the NYPD acting as roving gangs and enforcers for the mob. But then something happened to Clay Tiffany. In March of 1997, he was pulled over by an NYPD officer named Nick Tartaglione, who said that he had seen Clay Tiffany's show and wanted him to stop talking about the NYPD, and that he was connected to the mob, and if he didn't show up, he would have him taken care of. Or at least this is what Tiffany claimed the following day on his show, where he talked about the incident. And as Clay Tiffany claims, the next day after this broadcast, Nick Tartaglione showed up at his house, threw him against his police cruiser, arrested him, and brought him in on some made-up disturbing the peace charge. But Clay Tiffany was not going to be bullied, and he would not give up. So the next several years on his show, he did a full investigation of Nick Tartaglione, sending in a bunch of requests with the Freedom of Information Act to the government to get documents about him. And he dug up a ton of dirt, like multiple police brutality reports, a bunch of excessive force complaints, and unexplained departures from dozens of his previous police jobs. And in response, Clay Tiffany claims that he was attacked and brutalized by Nick Tartaglione and his cop buddies multiple times throughout those years. The first incident, he was attacked outside of his home again. The second incident, he was thrown to the pavement and beaten outside of a town meeting. And the third incident, he was beaten so badly that he was hospitalized for weeks. Tiffany ended up suing Nick Tartaglione. He didn't win, but there was an undisclosed sum settled out of court. But more importantly, he had lost any credibility that he ever possibly had because of these repeat accusations of Nick Tartaglione, and people started actively calling for his public access show to end. So in the early 2000s, that's exactly what happened. The show ended and Clay Tiffany disappeared from public life. And in 2015, he died from heart failure. But in 2016, Nick Tartaglione was arrested for the execution-style murder of 4 men in a drug trafficking job gone wrong. Clay Tiffany was right. Nick Tartaglione was mob connected, he was corrupt, and him and his buddies were running as enforcers for the mob within the NYPD. And what's even crazier is that Nick Tartaglione was, at one point, Jeffrey Epstein's cellmate and the last person to ever see him alive that we know of. And real quick, if you like my videos and you want to see more in-depth writing from me about pop culture, movies, TV, video games, weird historical facts, so on and so forth, you can do that here.
Just last week, 26-year-old Bethany McGee was riding the Blue Line in Chicago when a stranger walked up, poured a flammable liquid on her, and set her on fire. Police say 50-year-old Lawrence Reed didn't say a word before igniting her, then chased her through the train car as she burned and screamed. She soon stumbled out of the train with devastating, life-threatening burns while other commuters simply watched in horror. Reed was arrested minutes later and hit with federal terrorism charges, and that's when the most infuriating details began to surface. Court records show he'd been arrested at least 72 times over 3 decades, including assaults, arson, attacks on social workers, and other violent charges, yet was still out on electronic monitoring at the time of the attack. Prosecutors even revealed he had a pending aggravated battery case from earlier this year for attacking a hospital employee, showing a pattern of escalating violence that no one managed to stop. Bethany's friends later described her as a gentle, soft-spoken woman, an honor student, an animal lover, and someone who greeted everyone with kindness, making the randomness and brutality of the attack even harder to comprehend. The case has sparked national outrage over how someone with a rap sheet that long was free to carry out such a horrific attack, while Bethany remains in critical condition.
Have you seen that influencer everyone's saying might be in serious danger right now? There's this girl who goes by the name Flo. She used to just post fun, light-hearted videos, and for a while everything seemed totally normal. But then people in the comments started pointing out that weird stuff was happening in the background of her clips. Every now and then, behind a door, you can see random people in the background who look like they're watching her. That's how this whole theory started, that maybe she's being forced to film this content. One viewer even commented, "Wear a pink t-shirt in your next video if you're in danger." And guess what happened next? In the very next clip, she really was wearing pink. People freaked out and flooded the comments again, asking her to wear a different color shirt in the next video if she needed help. And the creepiest part is that she kept doing it. Over and over, she would wear exactly what people asked for in the comments, which only made her followers more suspicious. Her viewers started digging even deeper and decided that the phrase she says at the beginning of every video might actually be some kind of secret SOS signal.
Kaku kaku! Kaku kaku!
Y'all remember Tom Holland's humiliation ritual? He dressed up like a woman, he dressed up like a maid, and was performing Rihanna's Umbrella song. While it was very funny for a lot of people, this was his humiliation ritual. Y'all think you get to be Spider-Man, the best Spider-Man we've ever seen, without some type of sacrifice? Satan always comes to collect, okay? That's just how it is in Hollywood. And typically he collects by having them do some type of humiliation ritual. For men, most of the time, it's something very feminine or something very emasculating, something to take away from their masculinity. Now, I don't have nothing against Tom Holland, but what's on the wall is on the wall. You can look around and you can see with every celebrity that when they don't comply, guess what? The contract runs out, they either get or you never see them in anything else again. So they have to pay up. Don't think it's all fun and games when people get that high up in the world and get that famous and get all that money. It always comes with some type of consequence or ritual. In the end, you always have to pay Satan back. I know a lot of you are gonna be, oh no, you're reaching, it was funny, it was this, it was that. I want you to look around. I also want you to look around the industry and see how many men have came out and said that they want the men to wear dresses and dress up like women and be very feminine and all these for a humiliation ritual. Go and do your own research for yourself. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because I just saw it again recently on Facebook and I'm just like, dude, that was his humiliation ritual. That's the reason why, eventually he had to come up and pay. He's the biggest Spider-Man in the world, guys.
You could tell this is a humiliation ritual because this dude already has so much success. Like, he does not gain or benefit from any of this. So the fact that he dressed up like a girl and started dancing, it just shows you he's being controlled by somebody to do this, because I don't know any grown man that would willingly do this.
Major breaking news in the case of David and Celeste. We are now learning that a grand jury is officially involved in the investigation, and that is huge because it is a big step towards finally getting an arrest. Authorities have now come out and said that prosecutors have begun presenting evidence to an investigative grand jury, and let me tell you what that means. So when prosecutors begin the process of presenting evidence to an investigative grand jury, it means that a formal secret inquiry is underway to determine if there is enough probable cause to formally charge someone with a serious crime. And the goal is to decide whether to issue an indictment, which is a formal written accusation that a person has committed a crime. After the formal investigation and determining the probable cause, the next big step is initiating prosecution with a formal written charge. charge. And the other big thing is that according to court documents obtained by the Times, one detectives internally described the case as an investigation into murder. And this is also huge because it further confirms that they are looking into this as a crime and not a possibility that she did this to herself like they previously said, and they are looking to charge someone or some people. Rest in peace to Celeste. Let me know what you guys think about this, and as always, I'll keep you guys updated.
There's something terrifying happening in public places. Crowds go silent, not quieter, completely silent, like someone muted the world. There's a phenomenon people around the world are reporting, and it's called the missing crowd noise event. And once it happens to you, you'll never feel safe in a crowd again. It always starts the same way. You're in a busy place, a mall, an airport, school hallway, a stadium, hundreds of voices, footsteps, music, the usual chaos. And then, without warning, everything goes silent instantly. It's not your hearing, it's not your mind, it's like someone hit the mute button on reality. One woman at a grocery store said she bent down to pick something up, and when she stood up, total silence. Dozens of people walking past her, mouths moving, carts rolling, but no sound. Not even her own breathing. A teenager in Tokyo reported the same thing in a subway station. But here's where it gets disturbing. Every person says the silence isn't natural. It feels intentional, like the world is listening or adjusting. A man in Chicago said he tried clapping during one of these events, and the sound didn't return. His hands made contact, but there was no noise, and everyone around him turned their heads at the same time, as if reacting to something he couldn't hear. Scientists blame auditory processing lapses. Psychologists blame disassociation. But none of these explain why cameras capture the silence, microphones pick up nothing during the event, even animals freeze right before it happens. And it always lasts exactly 6 seconds. Never more, never less. The leading theory is you're witnessing a moment where the simulation reloads the audio environment, recalibrating background noise, resetting sensory data. If you're ever in a crowded place and everything suddenly goes silent, don't move, just wait, because something else might be moving around you. Stay weird.
What the hell is going on this planet? According to NASA, an underwater volcano nicknamed Sharkano erupted yesterday and released mutant sharks. Now, mind you, these sharks have been living, surviving. Let me say that again. Living and surviving in that volcano, in that acidic, hot-ass water. And now they loose. It's like every day we get another movie to play with. Now, what kind of movie is this? Sharknado? So 2024, basically what you're saying is, first, the drones, then it's too many dens to go through. So we have mutant sharks swimming around in these waters. What's next? It's another reason why I say I'm never going on no more cruises. I done went on all the cruises I'm gonna go on. I'm not swimming in no nothing. I ain't going to no beaches. I'm not doing none of that. Because for this shit to be going on, it's something crazy. My question to scientists and the people who know about this, how were these sharks surviving in those type of conditions? We wouldn't be able to survive there. Let me ask you a question. Are the sharks the ill? I ain't gonna say it. I'm out.
I think this is my sign to go to bed, because what do you mean there's mutant lava sharks? Like, bro, like they just be creating anything. I'm going to bed, bro. I'm just going to bed. Thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your favorite part of the video made you tremble in your boots, and we're going to be on to the next one. Thank you.